Deion Sanders Jr. acknowledges Shedeur's greatness after brother Shiloh denies hostile crowd fears. You couldn't really blame Deion Sanders Jr. for being on edge heading into Colorado's spring game. The Sanders name has always been polarizing. Loud, flashy, unfiltered, and great. That combo draws eyes, but it also draws heat. So when Shedur Sanders was set to have his jersey retired at Folsom Field, Bucky figured the crowd might turn hostile. They gonna boo him, Deion Sanders Jr. thought. And while that's a wild thought, it wasn't out of the question. But here's the thing. The boos never came. No hate, no hostility. Just over 20,000 fans showing up for Black and Gold Day, ready to send off their two biggest names to the 2025 NFL Draft. Deion Sanders Jr. misread the moment, and he later acknowledged the Sanders' greatness in his Instagram post on April 20th. Posting a carousel of behind-the-scenes shots from the day, including shots with Shedur Sanders and Deion Sanders, he captioned, "Sanders' name will be legendary for generations to come. I have told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen you will believe." John 14 verse 29. Whether it's a nod to Shedur or the family as a whole, the message is clear: legacy, faith, and a little bit of "I told you so." Well, it's not just the last name. Shedur Sanders is his own force. He completed 74% of his passes to set a program record with 4,134 passing yards and 37 TDs. He led Colorado to their first winning season since 2016 with a 9-4 record and earned the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year title. A 300-plus yards over 2 seasons in Boulder? Solid. And let's not forget, CU is not the only program he transformed. At Jackson State, he won the Jerry Rice Award and led his team to 2 straight SWAC championships. So when Colorado decided to retire Shedur Sanders' jersey, alongside Travis Hunter's, it ruffled some feathers. Words like "too soon" and "what about the greats before him" floated in the air. But as Deion Sanders put it, "This is the first time I ever seen it soar. I don't know if you know it, but I think every jersey I darn played in is retired. So I'm pretty familiar with this. It's never been sore." The Buffs HC also added, "We're talking about Shedur. We ain't talking about nobody else. If his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't have this discussion." And that's exactly the point. Shiloh Sanders bet against Deion Sanders Jr. on Shedur Sanders. Shiloh Sanders wasn't buying the hate hype. He even bet against Deion Sanders Jr., telling well-off media fam, "Hey yo, me and Bucky got a bet." Bucky said, "They gonna boo him." I said, "They not gonna boo. We don't get haters in real life. Bro, they not gonna boo." Bucky think about CU. And yeah, Shiloh won the bet. And while it wasn't a parade, the vibe was respect. And in this game, that's everything that somebody's always going to have something to say, Deion Sanders said unapologetically. But the way we are right now, we are a now generation. Those guys deserve what they deserve right now. So I'm proud of them. Even Shedur Sanders remains unfazed by the harsh critics' takes. Don't forget what he said in Indianapolis at the Combine. "You think I'm worried about what critics say, what people gotta say? You know who my dad is. They hated on him, too. We like adversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are." As Deion Sanders told Fox Sports analyst RJ Young, "The Sanders, we've been around for a long time. It's like they're tired of us. You had to deal with me. Now you have to deal with my kids. And whether or not critics like it, the Sanders era isn't ending. It's multiplying." Shedur Sanders to be number 2 overall draft pick as Mike Tomlin's Steelers love Colorado QB. Report, let us break it down for you. The Titans hold the top pick, which is probably sealed for Cam Ward. Then, Cleveland holds the number 2 overall pick, and their quarterback room right now looks like a mashup of the Expendables, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, and the non-existent $230 million bust, Deshaun Watson. In one line, functional, but far from future-proof. At number 3, we have the Giants, who will pick up the remains after the top 2 deal their hands. Okay, let's loop back to the Browns. They've dined with Shedur. They've hosted private workouts. According to GM Andrew Berry, there's a chance we take Shedur. All options are on the board. And that's when Mike Florio, in a Pro Football Talk report, perfectly wrote to us fans. Then there's the nuttiest one we've heard in recent days. At least one experienced and accomplished evaluator of talent thinks there's a chance someone trades up to number 2 to get Sanders. Make it make sense. But if the GM's okay, then who are we? This is where things start dancing on the line between hype and hope. If Cam Ward is the clear-cut QB1 and goes to Tennessee at number 1, which most mocks now suggest, the Browns are sitting there at number 2 with 3 real options. If they go defense, they're punting the QB dilemma. But if they go Shedeur, they're banking on ball placement, decision-making, and a high football IQ, not jaw-dropping arm strength or freakish athleticism. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's unexpected hype for a quarterback prospect who doesn't come with wow tools. So, let's look at what the tape and data actually say. Sanders' accuracy numbers in 2024 were solid: 73.8% overall, 84.9% to open windows. He doesn't miss the gimmies, and he's plenty smooth outside the pocket, 61.4% accuracy there. He cleared the 50% bar when pressured, 53.2%, which is a sneaky big indicator for NFL translation. But peel back the layers, and the tape tells a quieter story. 27% of his throws were behind the line of scrimmage. 11.2% required unnecessary adjustments by his receivers. 41.7% accuracy in tight windows, average. 59.7% success rate versus man coverage, despite throwing to Travis Hunter. Those numbers aren't disqualifying, but they're not glowing either. Guess that's why Florio wrote, "Most overlooked factor when it comes to Sanders is the possibility that the months of evaluation, investigation, and deliberation will be superseded by an owner who would rather get it wrong by drafting Sanders and having him not work out than by passing on Sanders and having him become a superstar elsewhere." Let's be honest, if his last name wasn't Sanders, is he even in the top 5 conversation? Probably not. He'd be viewed more like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. Intriguing, but flawed. But here's the thing about NFL drafts. Perception becomes reality, especially in a year where the QB class is thin and teams are desperate. Combine a famous father, marketability, and a competent floor, and suddenly you're a top 2 pick. Still, there's a long, painful list of high QB picks who didn't pan out. Mind you, all of these had tools and hype. None delivered. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Jamarcus Russell. On the flip side, there's an army of late-round guys who crushed expectations, even if we skip past Tom Brady. Brock Purdy, 262nd. Dak Prescott, 135th. Jalen Hurts, 53rd. Patrick Mahomes, 10th, still too low. So, yeah, draft slot is just a number. And Sanders might be a solid, long-term starter. But if the Browns make this pick, they're not just betting on a player, they're betting on the prime effect. The Browns haven't made a hard decision yet, according to Barry, but they've seen Shedeur up close. If they take him, they're saying safe and steady beats flash and bust. But make no mistake, this won't just be a draft pick. It'll be a referendum on Shedeur, on Deion, and also on Cleveland's future. And if they pass, maybe he goes to Steel City. Shedur Sanders wouldn't mind a Pittsburgh interest. As Pittsburgh waits on Aaron Rodgers, rumblings are growing louder about Shedur Sanders or Jackson Dart possibly wearing black and gold. And yep, this isn't just smoke. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Steelers have some love for Sanders picking at number 21. Now, the usual. Why Sanders, though? The Colorado product hasn't exactly had the smoothest road. There's been chatter, maybe even concern, about where exactly he'll land. But Fowler made it clear. Most around the league do expect him to go fairly high in the first round. New Orleans and Cleveland are doing their homework on him too, but Pittsburgh's name is sticking right now. In a room where Aaron Rodgers still hasn't said yes or no, taking a swing on Shedur Sanders might be more than just Plan B. Jackson Dart. Also in the chat, not a surefire top 15 pick, but there's that phrase again, some love in the Steelers building. Fowler said teams wouldn't be shocked if Dart hears his name early, and you know how draft night gets. All it takes is one GM to blink, and the board goes full chaos. Pittsburgh's QB room right now? Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. The less we talk about them, the better, because they are certainly not bringing the steel heat in the AFC with that QB room. No disrespect, but it's just how it is.